Hello everyone, welcome to the online lecture video series for the subject Python application programming for the 6th semester video. So today let us start with module 2. Module 2 consists of 3 chapters according to Charles Severin textbook. It is chapter 5, chapter 6 and chapter 7. So today we'll be learning about chapter 5, that is iterations. So this iteration chapter covers the while loops, infinite loops, break and continue statements, definite loops, so how variables are updated, so counting and summing loops, maximum and minimum loops. So let us start with the first topic, that is updating variables. So common pattern in assignment statements is that an assignment statement that updates a variable where new value of the variable depends on the old. So here you can see we have x is equal to x plus 1. So when I execute this statement in Python shell, so it gives me an error because x is not defined. So there is no value for x. So if there is no value for x, so it cannot increment. So this means get the current value of x, add 1 and then update x with the new value. But if we execute this, so here you can see x is not defined. So to rectify this problem, what we have to do is we have to assign a value to x before updating the variable. So that is what is this updation of variables meaning is. So now when I define a value for x, see suppose here, so when I assign a value for x, that is x is equal to y, so then I execute this statement, that is x is equal to x plus 1. So then the value of x will be updated. So this updating a variable by adding 1 is called as increment. So whereas subtracting 1 is called as decrement. So this particular statement is called as the initialization statement. Next we'll study about an important looping concept, that is the while statement. So these computers are often asked to automate repetitive tasks. So in order to repeat the tasks, we require loops. So repeating identical or similar tasks without making errors is something that computers do well. And so iteration is common. So Python provides several language features to make it easier. So one form of iteration is while statement. So we have an example here which counts down from 5 and then says blast off. So here is the program using the while statement. So here you can see n is assigned a value of 5. So while statement checks the condition, so then only it enters the loop. So here first the condition is checked. So here the condition is n should be greater than 0. So this is true because the value of n is 5 and 5 is greater than 0. So in the first statement it prints n and then it is the number n is 5, it is decremented 1. So in each iteration here, so how it is decremented? By using this statement, that is n is equal to n minus 1. So when n is less than 0, so then this particular while statement comes out of the loop and then it prints blast off. So that is this iteration form of while statement. So let us execute this program and check the while loop demonstration. So here you can see, here is the Python shell. So we'll execute the program while, which demonstrates the while loop. So you can see here when I run the program, so first n is printed. So because n is 5, so n is 5, so 5 will be printed and then it is decremented by 1 using the statement n is equal to n minus 1. And then finally when n is less than 0, it comes out of the while loop and prints blast off. So that is the form of iteration of for while statement. So here is the flow of execution for a while statement. Evaluate the condition yielding true or false. So this particular condition will decide whether it has to enter the loop or not. If the condition is false, exit the while statement and continue execution at the next statement. If the condition is true, enter the body and execute the body and then go back to step 1. So this type of flow is called as a loop because the third step loops back around to the top. We call each time when we execute the body of the loop an iteration. So for the above loop, we would say it had 5 iterations, which means the body of the loop was executed 5 times. So the body of the loop should change the value of one or more variables so that eventually the condition becomes false and the loop terminates. So here the condition to be false was n should be less than 0. So we call the variable that changes each time the loop executes and controls when the loop finishes the iteration variable. So if there is no iteration variable, the loop will repeat forever, resulting in an infinite loop. So this type of loops where there is no iteration variable, we call such loops as infinite loops. So the next topic is about the infinite loops. So here is an example. So you would have seen a shampoo bottle. So where the instructions will be something like this: lather, rinse, and repeat. Correct? So this is an infinite loop because there is no iteration variable telling you to how many times to execute the loop, right? So when you have to stop, so otherwise you just keep on lather, rinse, and repeat. So you add the shampoo, rinse it, and again repeat it. So that is an infinite loop. So in case of the countdown, we can prove that the loop terminates because we know that value of n is finite. So we need to have a finite condition loop that terminates. So otherwise the loop repeats forever, which is an infinite loop. So infinite loops and breaks. So sometimes we don't know it's time to end a loop until we get halfway through the body. So in that case, you can write an infinite loop on purpose and then you can use the break statement to jump out of the loop. So here is a demonstration of break and continue statements. So here you can see the usage of break and continue statements. So this particular example, so sometimes you are in an iteration of a loop and want to finish the current iteration and immediately jump to the next iteration. So in that case, you can use the continue statement to skip to the next iteration without finishing the body of the loop for current iteration. So here you can see while the condition is true. So here we have input, so the Python shell. So input this particular function. So this is a built-in function of Python program. So where it prompts the user to enter something from the keyboard. So this is input function. So it prompts the user. So once in the Python shell, the user sees this symbol. So he has to type something. So if line of 0 is equal to hash, if the user types hash, so then it simply continues to the next line. So if the user has typed done, so then it breaks the statement and it breaks off from the while loop and it prints done. So that is the example given here. So let us execute this program and check the demonstration of break and continue statements. So here is the Python shell. So here is the program for break and continue. I'll just demonstrate this. So here you can see in the Python shell, the right angled symbol has been displayed. So this means that the input function will prompt the user. So now when I type hash, so you can see it just continues that particular input statement. So again I type hash, it just continues. So you can see when the user types hash, it keeps on continuing. So once the computations are over, once when the user types done, so you can see here the while loop stops executing, it breaks the loop and it prints done. So this is the execution of break and continue. So you can see when the user types hash, it continues. When the user types done, it breaks from the while loop and it prints done. So that is the demonstration of while loop, that is using break and continue. So next we'll look into definite loops. So sometimes we want to loop through a set of things such as list of words, so lines in a file or a list of numbers. So then we use this definite loop. So we can construct this definite loop using a for statement. The syntax for a for loop is similar to while loop in that there is a for statement and a loop body. So here you can see this is the demonstration of for loop. So you can see here, I have a list of names here, Joseph, Glenn, and Sally defined here. So we have list of names defined here. So this is the for loop syntax. So you can see the for keyword is used. So this is the iteration variable, that friend, and this is the list of friends where the list of friends are being stored. So you can see again the conditional statements or the looping statements are always ended with a colon character. So once the colon character is typed, so then the automatic indentation happens in the next line. Otherwise, if you don't end it with a colon character, you get an error. So this particular iteration variable, that is friend, traverses through each of the name here. So from the friends, this thing. So first time it traverses Joseph, it prints Happy New Year, Joseph. And again, the for loop is repeated for the second name, that is Glenn. So it prints Happy New Year, Glenn. And again, the for loop is repeated for the third name, that is Sally. So it prints Happy New Year, Sally. So and again when the for loop traverses this particular list of names, so there are no names again. So it comes out of the for loop and it prints done. So this is the demonstration of for loop. So let us demonstrate the usage of for loop. So when I execute the same program, so here you can see Happy New Year Joseph, Happy New Year Glenn, Happy New Year Sally. So once all the items are traversed or the names are traversed in the list, so it prints done. So that is the demonstration of for loop. So next we'll go to the loop patterns. So here we have two topics under this loop patterns. One is counting and summing loops and the other one is maximum and minimum loops. So counting and summing loops is nothing but to count the number of items in a list. So we just write this particular program here. So here you can see the demonstration of counting loops. So again, the for loop is used here. So here we have 6 items in the list. So I'm using the count variable. So it is initialized to 0. So and I'm incrementing it by 1. So for This iteration variable will traverse through the list for each and every item in the list, and it increments the count each and every time it traverses a number. So finally it prints the count of the number of items in the list. So for this particular statement, the output will be 6 because there are 6 items in the list. So similarly, if you want to sum the numbers, so you can use this particular program. So here you can see I have used another variable called as total, which is initialized to 0, and also I'm using the for loop. So this iteration variable traverses through each of the item in the list. So what it does is, so initially total will be 0, so 0 plus 3, so that particular latest value will be stored in total. And again, when it traverses the next item, so this particular 3 will be added to 41. And again, 41 plus 3, that is 44, will be stored in the total. And again, next, each and every time the item in the list is traversed, the count is incremented. The sum, it is summed, and finally the total is printed. So this is how counting and summing of loops is done using the looping statements. And also the looping statements can be used to find the maximum and minimum of loops. So here I have an example for demonstrating the maximum and minimum of the numbers here. So here you can see I have taken a variable called as largest, and I have given the value as none. So for iteration variable in this particular list of items, so if largest is none or iter variable is greater than largest, so then largest will be that particular iteration variable. So basically what it does is it traverses through all of the numbers, so compares each and every other number to the other number, and finally comes up with the largest number, and it returns the largest number. So let us execute this program and demonstrate. So here we have the program. So you can see here the largest number out of the items in the list is 74. So that is the demonstration of the maximum and minimum numbers. So this is for the maximum of the numbers using for loop. And again, similarly, in place of largest, so we are just having the smallest number. So instead of greater than symbol, we have the lesser than symbol here for returning the smallest of the numbers. And again, the number 3 will be returned as the output for this particular program. Thank you.